Yeah, all right. We're back on our series of meh, OP, terrible. It's a series where we take 3 units or lords or heroes or what have you that are either perpetually overpowered, perpetually terrible, or kind of meh. Like, they're not bad on paper or anything, but also you never see them in like competitive multiplayer. There's probably a reason for that. So today, I have a visual demonstration with 2 of them. So in the bad category, the trash, we have the Hierro Titan of the Tomb Kings. So we'll start off with him. He needs a long time to walk into melee. Now, this guy has gotten buffs over and over and over again, but he's still never meta. One reason is how terribly slow he is and tall. It's very easy to shoot him. With no missile resistance, 100 armor, but obviously no shield. And like I said, he's super tall. Any ranged unit can really hit him. That's not great. He does have some supportive elements with spell mastery and power recharge, but for 2,000 gold, he takes up a lot of space and money in your army, because then you're going to have a much smaller army with him. Then he has a Bound Spirit Leech and Shem's Burning Gaze, which are both okay, but not great. So I have them fight a large single entity, random skeleton warriors, and blood knights to show versus cav, versus infantry, and versus heavy, cav, infantry, and monsters. Now we're gonna have the Necrosphinx, the OP unit, go deal with the infantry. So we'll see the difference there. Now the Hierro Titans got a way earlier start, because I was talking about them, and they're slow as hell. So we'll see how that goes. Hierro Titan's doing okay against those skeleton warriors, and the Necrosphinx didn't actually get a good collision attack in, which is a bit of a whoopsie. So I'm gonna back him off, run through over here, because they can get collision attacks. That's part of this demonstration, is that the Hierro Titan doesn't get collision attacks at all, so doesn't get nearly as much damage out on the infantry. Necrosphinxes can. There, you got a decent amount out. Anyway, we can see that starting way later, the Necrosphinx has caught up against the Hierro Titan versus the Blood Knights. They've caught up and are beating the Vargulf compared to the Hierro Titan. And we're doing okay against the Skeleton Warriors over here. The Necrosphinx, I believe, is cheaper. No, the Necrosphinx might be 100 gold more. Maybe 100 gold more. But it is much faster with double the speed. Same armor. Less HP, though it is more mobile and it's more easily able to get out of situations. We can see, like, these Blood Knights are almost dead. I'm gonna path through them. There's not that many left. I guess he does get netted pretty good. Normally his charge animations will get him out of anything, but the Hierro Titan just, like, can't move through either, so I guess neither can really move through. As the Hierro Titan has now finished off the Skeleton Warriors, the Necrosphinx is still doing a decent job. And we can see their kills-wise, the Necrosphinx is actually caught up with the Hierro Titan on kills. So with the Skeletons, the Hierro Titan got 230 value. Yeah, 230. So the Necrosphinx actually caught up after starting way later. So it's as good versus infantry, it's better versus cavalry, and it's better versus single entities, and it's faster, and it has collision attacks, and it has better charge animations, and it has a higher weapon strength. So it's like, okay, the Hierro Titan doesn't bring much to this party, and it's stronger against missile attacks because it's like weird cat movements get it through bad volleys pretty nicely. Like some of the shots will go too high because they're predicting the model to keep going upwards, which just isn't going to happen. Also, how have these Blood Knights done? 1,000 value on these Blood Knights, 1,100 on the other Blood Knights. So Blood Knights got pretty similar values, killing them off. I guess I'll let the fights finish out. Is this Blood Knight still fighting the Hierro Titan? This Vargulf still fighting. He's only gotten 300 value versus the Hierro Titan, though, so take that, Vargulf. You piece of garbage. Bum, bum, ba-da-bum, still fighting the Blood Knights. Wow, you're doing really terribly against that Vargulf. Army losses had to take him out. You shame your ancestors. So overall, fighting the same 3 targets. We have 1,900, 900, and 200. 1,200, 250. 1,700, so similar values, but took one a lot longer. Okay, they're the exact same cost. Got it. Yeah, so there's a reason the Hierro Titan's trash. All the things we talked about, and then the demonstration is just kind of like showing that the Necrosphinx can either do what this thing does equally, or it can do it flat out better with its anti-large, armor piercing, higher speed, higher engagement potential, collision attacks, Just everything. Everything about it's better. And it's like, for all that, all those advantages, you get 3,600 HP for the Hierro Titan, and you get 2 Spirit Leeches, a Shem's Burning Gaze, and Spirit Conduit. It's just not very good. Like, this thing is too slow, takes too long to get into the fight, takes too long to win the fight, takes too long to get value back. It doesn't bring anything to the party that the Necrosphinx can't just do better. So there's a reason you keep seeing double Tomb King's cats, and if we didn't limit them in tournaments, you'd see 3 actually. You'd see Cetron, his Kemrian War Sphinx, and then you'd see 2 Necrosphinxes. And you just don't ever see Hierro Titans. We had one guy take a Hierro Titan in every game of a new player tournament and win, but he kind of won in spite of the Hierro Titan, not because of it. So, yeah. It's just a lot. It's a lot to pay for like a mana battery, because let's say you just want better spells out of Cetra. You know, you still have to take Cetra on his War Sphinx. You can skip both those, keep Restless Dead, skip Unyielding Will if you really want to, and get Unyielding, Using the Condition of Vengeance. I mean, you've spent 4,400 gold here. I had my funds jacked up so I could even take that many, but you only have 8,000 gold left for the rest of your army. That's pretty intense, just for, you know, a couple extra casts of some low damage spells and Spirit Conduit. I don't know. And if people like, I don't know. Sometimes people have issues with how I do demonstrations and stuff, and they're going to like pick and choose little things about the Hierro Titan or the Necrosphinx that either makes one not overpowered or the other secretly strong. Man, I cast a lot of tournaments and I cast a lot of replays. The Hierro Titan has finally showed up in one tournament. It was a new player tournament, and then it won. The player who was playing with it won, but it was kind of in spite of it. So it's like data over the course of years. The Hierro Titan's not been meta, and I'm trying to tell you why. And if you just want to sit in YouTube comments and tell me I'm wrong, like, I don't want to be that guy, but honestly, I guess go win some tournaments with it. Like, prove me wrong, but there's a reason, like, Alfredino and Falcon and them never take it. And, like, Tomb Kings are super meta right now, and you see a ton of cats, and you don't see almost any of the Hierro Titan, and there's a reason for that. It's just the mobility, the collision attacks, the tankiness, the flexibility. They're all just way better. And then for the third units, we kind of did OP and trash at the same time. Oh yeah, I need to fix them. I can't just talk about why they suck. Sorry, it's been a while since I recorded one of these. So how to fix these things, how to make the Necrosphinx not overpowered, and how to make the Hierro Titan good. The easy thing would just be cost reductions for the Hierro Titan, but that's less interesting, so we don't do that. Let's see, Hierro Titan. I mean, it should honestly be a crazy infantry clear, kind of like the Rogue Idol for the greenskins. The Rogue Idol will murder any infantry all day long. This thing just needs to be way better at clearing out infantry. I forget the math on it, but I think it needs like higher weapon strength with higher splash damage, so it kills more infantry quickly rather than like single target damage. I'm fine with it being a piss poor duelist. Like how bad it did against the Vargulf is fine. But it should be able to clear out infantry. It is currently weak to ranged fire, so you don't have to change anything about that. I'm just saying it should be weak to ranged fire because it's tall and slow. But, I mean, it can mill about random swordsmen and kill them off very quickly, or chosen, or any of that. It should be able to kill any infantry that isn't a halberd infantry. And then the halberd infantry, it'll kill them, but it'll take a ton of damage in return, right? But, like, axe chosen should die to this thing quite handedly, and it just takes him too long to do that. So I would make the Hierro Titan kill infantry a lot quicker, and then you can also give him a bit of a cost reduction, and he'd be fine. Not great, but fine. For the Necrosphinx and somewhat the Kemrian War Sphinx, people are going to yell at me because of campaign. You don't get to get a lot of these guys because they're a tier 5 unit, and then the way that Tomb Kings work, you only get 1 per building you build across your empire. But in multiplayer, they're a goddamn menace. 2,000 price point is honestly pretty fine for them. I think for the Necrosphinx and the Kemrian War Sphinx, they need their own identities back. I think the Kemrian War Sphinx is pretty well balanced. The only actual good Kemrian War Sphinx is with Cetra on it. The regular Kemrian War Sphinx is fine. The Necrosphinx is a problem because with collision attacks and still really good damage values, it can clear out infantry while also being an amazing cav killer and an amazing duelist due to the anti-large. So it kind of puts the Kemrian War Sphinx out of a job. So I think the Necrosphinx should just be absolute garbage at killing infantry. Kind of like the Vargulf, actually. Funny enough, we just had the Vargulf in it, but the Vargulf can't kill infantry to save its life. And I think the Necrosphinx needs that treatment. Probably take away its collision attacks. Keep him on the Khemrian War Sphinx, but for the Necrosphinx, take away its collision attacks. Take away any splash damage, really. Just give it single target focus. So it's like, if it runs into infantry, it's just going to hit one model and do way too much damage to that one or maybe two models, but it won't kill the unit very quickly. And you can kind of turn into a specialist. But right now, the Necrosphinx is too good at doing everything. So it just kind of like, it's an auto take and does a lot of damage to everything. So yeah, I'd fix it that way. Both these guys need splash damage changes, but in opposite directions. Then for the meh unit, Hexwraiths. I'm tempted to put Hexwraiths in the trash tier, but two things. One, in campaign, there's a whole bunch of buffs for them, and those people are going to say that they're actually secretly good, and maybe they are in campaign. You can also already give them a lot of spells to buff them up. They're borderline trash, but I put the Hexwraiths in the meh category just because I wanted to talk about them in like ghost units in general. Physical resistance is an increasingly useless stat in a game where we're getting more and more magic damage every day. Like, updates give units magic damage, DLCs give units magic damage, all these things. So we just have 0 armor, 7,000 HP, light cav with armor piercing. But then there's another thing about the Hexwraiths where it feels like something about them isn't coded correctly, because I swear these guys don't have any impact damage, or they just kind of feel like a wet marshmallow slapping into things, and then they'll start to do damage after like the charge wears off. But I don't know. It's weird. That one's very feels based, but I just can't like feel a lot of damage come out of them. Yeah, their mass is pretty terrible. That might be it. They have almost half the mass of a Blood Knight. And I know they're a ghost, so maybe you don't want to give them high mass because you're like, they don't have mass. But I mean, counterpoint, shouldn't they also be able to just like whisk through infantry without much issue because they're ghosts? Like, not having mass works both ways. They could also just fly through these idiots, but they don't. They just kind of get stuck and die. So for Hexwraiths, I would give them more mass just to make them able to move quicker through things. And then I think their melee defense is pretty bad for not having anti-large or anti-infantry, either or. So if you don't want them to be a specialist unit, I still think they should just get 40 melee attack. Not like plus 40, but, you know, up to 40. So I'd give Hexwraiths plus 8 melee attack and then armor of most heavy cav, and I think they would be fine. Give them some impact damage, but also give them the ability to push out of infantry if they need to, or anything like that. It's 1,400 gold for a unit that relies on physical resistance, otherwise it disintegrates. It's not going to be that oppressive. Just give it some melee stats, give it some mass, let it actually do something. Because I feel like they're too scared. They're like, oh, it has high speed, and it has a slow, and it has arm piercing, and it has physical resistance. We need to make sure this thing sucks. Like, not sucks. We need to make sure this thing stays in line, so let's give it low armor, low health, low melee attack, and melee defense, or it'll be oppressive. And it's like, nah, dude, one Fated unit takes these guys out. 2 volleys from Huntsman with Flaming Sword of Ruin on them takes it out. Fighting any demonic unit at all just insta-kills it. Like, you're playing a little too safe with the Hexwraiths. Give them some love. Because, I mean, even the Chill Geists, they have the melee attack I'm thinking of, and they're not oppressive, right? Because their mass still sucks, and they still have all the weaknesses of ghost units, yada, yada, yada. So it's like, we even have one that's 1 melee attack higher than what I'm talking about, and they still suck ass, so who cares? Anyway, I think that would make the Hexwraiths fine, and give the Vampire Counts armor-piercing aggressive cavalry that isn't that tanky. Like, they're still not going to be tanky. I'm proposing giving them melee attack and mass, not any defensive stats. They'll still disintegrate. But, you know, then you have your tanky defensive cav, your tanky elite cav, and then your damaging elite light cav. Then we just give Vampire Counts some kind of regular light cav, and we're good to go. Skeleton Horseman. Anyway, that's it for this video. It's kind of rambly, but I'm getting back into the swing of making videos. Bye! Roar. Subscribe, yes, yes.